Hello. Welcome to the Abyss. No beer today, because it's pretty early in the morning.
Yep, it's 10 a.m., so still waking up, but I am going to be drinking some peanut butter flavored whiskey from Bird Dog.
Nice. It looks good, but I'm going to be the responsible one and not have any whiskey at 10 a.m. because I got to drive home after this.
You don't want to slam a bottle and go drive a car?
No, not really. Not today.
Let's go drive a car.
So I watched Knock at the Cabin from M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
It was
actually.
a good show.
It was good.
Like I shit on the guy all the time, but I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah. It's like you said, like, there wasn't really some crazy twist at the end.
I know. I kept expecting a stupid twist. I'm like, God, he's going to do it again. I really
liked it. And then we watched another one. I can't remember the name of it, but it wasn't as good. I seriously don't remember the name of it. I don't even remember what it was about.
Same director?
No.
Okay.
No. I've seen all of his stuff, pretty much.
Yeah? You a big M. Night Shyamalan fan?
I mean, he has done really good things, and he's done really shitty things. So, there's that. So, Cleet, I have you to thank, because my Facebook Messenger thread has an interesting link in there.
Oh, yeah? Let's talk about it. What happened?
So, when we're doing research, specifically Reddit's, like when we're looking through Reddit threads, we'll send each other the link like, hey, let's talk about this one this week. Cleet thought it was funny to send me a link that literally is, pornography.com. So I log into my messenger this morning to look at the new link. Staring me right in the face, pornography.com.
It does like a little thumbnail of like the site, right?
Yeah, it's got like a little logo on it. So thanks for that. It's there to stay. I love it. So nice of you, Cleet, to grace me with that link.
Like ever since you sent me that, I've been getting some weird like advertisements on my Facebook feed.
Yeah, it's never been the same. It's like, oh, so you're into this, huh? I know they took Pornhub away in Utah, but pornography.com, it's got all that you need.
It's a lot of weird people that visit that site.
Oh, yeah?
All right, so tonight we are going to be doing a Reddit episode, as we kind of were talking about there. We were sending new Reddit threads, and the one we're going to be discussing tonight is called, What Are You 100% Sure Of You Saw, But Nobody Believes You?
Oh.
Which I kind of like that, you know? I don't think I've ever seen anything like in my life that's been like stupid. Like stupidly crazy that no one else saw.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I have anything that would like fall within that category, but I think it's very interesting.
It is an interesting category. I don't have anything that comes right to mind. Like, oh, I saw this thing once and no one else saw it. I have no idea. There's this weird link in my inbox that no one saw. It's just there all the time. No one believes me.
I would never send you that.
Fleet's sending me porn, people. No, I don't think so.
You know, on some of those sites, they got a little share feature.
You what?
Who shares it? You know, you talk about you go to the hub, and it's like there could be some videos with shares. I don't know. Anyways.
Oh yeah, I mean, you explaining how it works.
I've never. Seen
Sounds like you're very fluid with how the hub works, my guy. I think it's a little interesting. Anyway,
right, let's jump in.
Okay,
I'm gonna do a quick one. So the first one is from Wozord Motors.
Okay.
This person says, I saw an elderly man walking his dog at the park, pick up a snake, call it a bad boy,
what?
and then guide it back into its hole in the ground.
You're a bad boy. Is that a euphemism? Put his snake back into the hole?
You're a bad boy.
He like spanks it when it goes back in. I don't want to see you coming out of your hole again today.
That's just, to me, I don't know why. That just seems
How do you
funny.
explain that to somebody?
Like, I'm surprised you didn't. I don't know. It's weird.
This is from Aquarius1409. I was walking down a gravel road to a pool with friends when I felt someone poke me in my ass with a stick. So I turned around, but my friends weren't holding a stick. Then I felt it again, so I told them to bug off. They looked confused. I felt it again while looking at them, and I reached into my swim shorts to see what's up. Then I felt a branch between my ass cheeks. So I pulled it out. It was a big grasshopper. Oh, it was trying to squeeze in my crack. I felt violated, but let it go. Oh, I love the first comment. No, silly, it was an asshopper.
That's exactly what it was.
Obligatory thanks for the golden random Sprague poem. That would suck. Big old grasshopper just trying to nest in your butt.
Yeah, no thanks. All right, this one is from Fat Legs Chicken Boy.
Oh, that's quite the name.
We have a large body of water in my town, and the geese that live on it are vicious. Hardcore, nasty geese. If you're across the road, they will chase you, hissing and trying to bite you. Anywhere else I go, the geese are timid, normal, and give you space. It's like a geese game.
Give me some space, geese.
So, if anything, they like people. The only way to keep the geese away in my hometown are by walking dogs. The dogs don't have to do anything, just be there. It's a popular walking route, and this older gentleman walks it at least once a day. The one night, he just starts walking in the middle of the geese, and as the one hisses, that's what it says.
Yeah. Geese hiss, man. They're not nice.
He holds out his hand and let the geese sniff it, as if they were a dog. Laughs, then, when it hisses more and keeps walking. It was one of the most fearless moments I've ever seen from a grown man. So we were at a park like a couple of weeks ago. And we got some food, and we were just chilling. There's like a little lake out in where we're at in the city. It was the weirdest thing. Like, I see like a group of ducks chase one duck, and the other duck's just running. It runs to a tree, and the other ducks surround him and just start attacking the duck.
Holy hell.
It was like this weird, like I was concerned the duck was going to get murdered, but it just ended up flying off after a while, taking a beating. They all flew after him. I don't know what I was seeing over there.
It was the female duck's family because he cheated on her.
Yeah, something's going on. That duck was fucked.
Okay, this comes from David Bowie's Bulge. Nice. When I was a kid, I had this really creepy clown that was sat on a little wooden swing that hung from my fireplace in my bedroom. Yeah, that's not fucking creepy. Now, I'm not afraid of clowns, but that thing made me feel like I was being watched. But my parents would not let me get rid of it because my grandmother gave it to me. I don't care who gave it to me. That thing's not sitting in my room. One day, I had enough of the damn thing. I was probably about 10 because it wasn't long before we moved out of that house. I decided that I didn't want it watching me playing, so I turned it around to face the wall. It was hanging close enough to the wall that it wouldn't just spin back around. I sat back down to continue playing with my brats, and after a few minutes, I got that prickly feeling like I was being watched again. I looked over my shoulder, and that fucking clown's head was on backwards. Oh, I noped the fuck out and ran downstairs screaming and crying, begging my mom to come up and look. She did, but when we got up to my room, the whole fucking clown was facing forwards again. My mom told me to stop being stupid and making a fuss. Oh, that's so nice.
Quit being an idiot.
Quit being so stupid. So the doll conveniently fell out of my window and smashed its porcelain face on the slabs. Fucking thing.
It was probably planning on pulling you under the bed, like that movie. I don't really remember what was the old one, the clown. You know what I'm talking about though, right?
I think so.
It's like in the room and it disappears and he looks under the bed and then it's like not there.
It's not Poltergeist, is it?
I think it might be. It might be Poltergeist.
I think it is Poltergeist.
All right, this one is from Deleted. A dude asked me how to get to Planet Fitness. I told him it was across the parking lot. I look down at my phone as he starts walking, and after answering a text in about 10 seconds, I look up and he's gone. The distance was about a quarter of a mile in an empty parking lot. There were no cars nearby or driving away, so it didn't look like he got into a vehicle or anything. I look all around, but he was gone. Fucking fitness ghost. I wish you many gains.
Hey, there you go. Okay, this comes from Omega Friend. When I traveled to India about 20 years ago, I took the bus or coach to travel from one city to another. It was a night bus, so I slept through most of the ride. It was dark and the road was surrounded by a forest. The road was only illuminated by the headlights of the bus, and we were seemingly alone on the road. I woke up for a brief moment and just stared out the window. There I saw this creature on the side of the road hurrying into the dark woods. The moment lasted a second or two, but I saw the creature so clearly. It looked like something with a human body doing an inverted crab walk. It had the head of a Doberman dog or jackal. It had a waddling gait with each limb moving independently like an insect. That sounds fucking horrible. Everyone around me was asleep and I felt like a crazy person. I kept telling myself that I must have seen something else and misinterpreted it in my mind, because I just caught a glimpse of it. In later years, I questioned whether I was dreaming it. I felt extremely certain of what I saw, but I'm probably wrong. There's probably a logical explanation to it. A few years ago, I stumbled upon this GIF. It's not real, but the thing I saw looked almost exactly like this creature. A bit more jackal-like head, but pretty much this. Oh, there's a picture. See what this thing fucking looks like. Whoa.
Oh my god. That's creepy as hell.
That's way fucking creepy. Okay. Yeah, it's basically what he said. It's like an inverted human that backs into the forest.
I might be able to put that GIF on the YouTube.
Just see if you can. I'm a very rational person. I don't believe in supernatural things, but being in an Indian forest at night will make the most sane person doubt his mind. Those forests are truly scary. There's a couple more edits on here. This got way more attention than I expected. Unfortunately, I was unable to beat the story out of the guy who got a grasshopper stuck in his ass crack. Oh well. I'm getting a lot of questions about hypnagogic hallucinations and sleep paralysis. I worded myself wrong. The only reason I mentioned sleep in the first place was to highlight that everyone else was sleeping. I should have specified that I was completely awake when I saw it. Even though I feel well versed enough in paralysis and hallucinations to rule them out, I'm not going to dismiss it completely. Interesting.
All right, this one is from Clockwork Nixia. 2 squirrels were wrestling or having sex in a tree. They fell out and landed on my head, jumped off, then ran away. I went to check my head for any injuries and felt a small wet spot that was not blood. I swear to God, one of those fuckers jizzed on my head.
Oh, man. That's a hell of a way to start your day. All right, this is also from Omega Friend. He's got another story down here. I'll share an additional creepy story while we're at it. This from a friend of mine, so I can't confirm that it happened to me, but I genuinely trust him. His family moved into a new house when he was a kid, and he remembers quite vividly that he would wake up at nights and see a man standing in his doorway, just staring at him. He was quite young, didn't quite grasp the situation. He thought it might have been his dad checking on him from time to time. He told his parents about it, and it eventually stopped. He stopped seeing this figure standing in the door at nights. He didn't think too much of it later in life. He assumed that he experienced sleep paralysis or something similar. 20 years later, it came up in a conversation with his parents, and they told him that it freaked the living shit out of them when their 5-year-old son told them he sees people at night. His dad never stood in the door, just staring at him, especially not on the days when he saw this figure in the door. After learning about the previous owner of the house committing suicide, they called a priest, who came over and blessed the house. It's around the time my friend stopped talking about seeing a man in his doorway at nights. This thing that he would see at nights never approached him, never talked to him, never moved, just stood there, looking at him. My friend legit thought he had sleep paralysis for years till his parents revealed the whole priest thing decades later. Probably freaked him out.
Damn, that is creepy.
Yeah, that's not something you want to see when you wake up. You're like, oh, hey, Dad?
All right, this one is from Edgy Dabs. I believe I've told this story before. When I was in 8th grade, near the start of summer, I decided to just skip school and head home. On my way walking down the street, I saw a very large man with no shirt, booty shorts, suspenders, and a clip-on bow tie riding a pogo stick.
What the fuck? What?
He was very jiggly. And his ass was basically bouncing out of his near non-existent shorts. As he passed me, he whispered, "It's called fashion."
Oh my God.
It's called fashion.
Fashion.
I don't live in that town anymore, but whenever I go visit family, I make sure to avoid that street.
Avoid Pogo Street.
Oh my God.
Good Lord. Yeah, I'm okay not seeing that ever in my life. This is from Darkness. I love when ghost stories come with corroboration by other people. When I was 9 years old, in the middle of a bright summer day, I was at the refrigerator getting a popsicle. Suddenly, a roughly teenage-looking guy with long brown hair, wearing a beige turtleneck and red plaid bell bottoms, turned around the corner into the hallway to my left, then disappeared. I told no one about it for years, until after my mother mentioned meeting the now-grown kids who lived in the house before us, who asked her if she'd seen the bell-bottom ghost. Other things regarding the ghost. According to my mother, there was a bed with a mattress and sheets up in the attic that was there from before we moved in. Apparently had been for a while. My mother used to hear footsteps up in the attic at night, only to find no one there when she went to investigate. The footsteps stopped after we redid the attic to turn it into a carpeted playroom and got rid of the bed. It's like, hey kids, we're going to put the playroom upstairs where the ghost is. Have fun.
Yeah.
When I was around 10, I was sleeping on the couch in the living room while my bedroom was being painted. I hadn't fallen asleep yet, and when I heard something in the adjacent dining room, which was fully visible from the couch, the two rooms were separated by a wide, open, doorless doorway, Footsteps were coming from the opposite end of the dining room. Very paced, deliberate footsteps, like whoever was making them was slowly digging their foot in from heel to toe, creaking to make as much noise as possible. They were coming closer and closer. They stopped right at the divide between the two rooms, and then there was silence for about 30 seconds while I lay there almost pissing myself in terror. Then they slowly started again, going back into the dining room and eventually stopping. I ran to my parents' room and slept on the floor. When I was 21, I was visiting home from college, down on my laptop in the living room while all the rest of the family was in bed, sometime around 1 a.m. The light in the bathroom, just off the dining room, was on, so I wouldn't be stumbling around in a complete darkness when I decided to go to bed. I was talking to my buddy on AIM when my dog, Claddig, well, that's an interesting name, rest in peace, got up and walked into the dining room and then began staring into the bathroom, cocking his head. Suddenly I hear a loud click, and the bathroom light went off. I got up to investigate with my cell phone for light, and in the bathroom, the chain on the ceiling light was swinging around like someone had just pulled it.
What?
From where I was sitting, I would have both seen and heard anyone go inside, seen the shadow of the door close, reopen, and maybe then the light go off. But no one was there.
Oh, man.
That's fucking
That's
creepy.
creepy as hell. This one is from Not a Human, but one day, right? Like, but
Not
what?
human, but what?
One day when I was 6 years old and playing in the yard, I saw a winged insect that had a scorpion tail. I ran away because I remember reading that scorpions were poisonous, and thus staring at an animal that looked like part of a scorpion would cause my premature demise. When I told my parents, they uh-huhed in a dismissive sort of way that parents did when they weren't interested. Later that day, I saw the girl that lived around my block and told her, too. I assumed that since she was a full year older than me, and therefore omniscient, she would know what kind of animal I had seen, but she didn't. And then it just says motherfuckers and puts a link. I'm going to click it. You ready?
Yeah, this should be fun.
I got a virus. Oh my God. Ew. That's disgusting. It's like a...
That's photoshopped.
Is that... I don't...
Oh, wait, I don't think it is.
Scorpion fly? Fuck? That thing's nasty. We'll put it on YouTube. Let you guys decide if that's photoshopped.
That's horrible.
I would run away from that thing.
Yeah, no thanks. It's like the fucking big horsefly you had out in your house yesterday.
Thing's like huge, man.
God.
It lives in the wood pile we got.
You should get rid of the wood pile.
I'm burning it slowly.
Okay, this is from 15R Thews. Around 2 a.m. one night when I still lived home, I got up to walk to the garage to get a soda. I sat out there for a moment just drinking my cold beverage when I swear I heard something moving in a box or something. I got really freaked out and walked into the darkness ahead of me to see if I could figure out what it was. I swear on my mother's life I heard what sounded like an old toy doll saying something like, "I love you," or "howdy," or something to that effect. I turned around and ran as fast as I could back inside, and ever so faintly in the darkness as I turned around I thought I saw something standing there just looking at me.
Oh my God.
Never happened again, but I told my parents about it the next day and they just kind of laughed it off and said I was dreaming. I was 16 at the time, so I knew what dreaming feels like. This happened in real life. That's fucking creepy.
Yeah, it is. All right, this one is from a Trevo. Not me, but my older brother. When my older brother was around 4 or 5 in our old house, he used to have nightmares. He woke up one night crying with an old woman sat at the base of his bed. The old woman apparently sung him lullabies and told him to go back to sleep in case his mum got worried. Morning comes, and when my older brother tells my mum that about the old woman, she asked him to describe her. And he describes in perfect detail the little old woman who lived and died there. She was wearing the exact same clothes as the clothes she died in too. My older brother had never met nor seen this woman. She died a few years before his birth. Edit to clarify, the house they were on the same street as Mom's old house. Hence how my mom knew the old woman who lived there. So just some ghost lady was visiting him, I guess.
This is from Pokey Ass. When I was like 4, I used to sleep in my parents' room on a couch bed they had in there. And one night I woke up and saw a white figure kneeling, kind of like in a praying position, at the side of my parents' bed, staring at my dad. I remember I looked at it for a minute and walked towards me, and I fell back asleep. I'm in no way, shape, or form religious, but I always believed it was an angel. My parents said it was a dream most likely, but I know what I saw and still remember it vividly. so I know it wasn't a dream. The part I find most disturbing is I don't remember being scared. Seeing something like that at my age now would make me shit myself. My grandma is the only one who believes me, mainly because she's super religious.
All right, this one is from TSIM12345. Man, my dad's house used to have some weird shit happening. My dad said one time he saw a blonde-haired dude staring at him when he woke up one night. He freaked out, but then later assumed and told us he just dreamed it, and he told us it wasn't real, and not to worry. A little while later, my cousin was staying with us, and we were all hanging out in the living room, and my cousin says that he's going to sleep. Runs out of the room an hour later, saying that he saw a man in his room. My dad tells him, yeah? Does he have blonde hair? My cousin is like, yeah. And my dad tells him, yeah, I see him all the time now, but we have to just wait until we can move.
The fuck?
That's the last night me and my sisters ever slept at my dad's house. He's like, yeah, we're too broke to move right now, so we're just going to have to deal with it.
What the fuck? So it's like, just ignore him until we can get more money.
That's such a more because you always hear these stories about people like, oh, I was so scared and I had to leave that night. That's such an adult response to a haunting. You know what? I don't like this, but you know what? We're gonna have to deal with it until the lease is up.
It's like, what do you want me to do? I can't just afford to fucking move, especially in this economy. Can't just pack up and get a new house. Deal with it. Just a blonde-haired guy hanging out.
We're just not going to acknowledge it like the octopus in the kitchen. That's a Family Guy reference.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird shit here. Just fucking ignore it. We'll move out at some point. Dad's only making minimum wage right now. Just chill out. All right, this is from Alpha Omniwolf. When I was young, I had frequent night terrors. During almost all of them, I would wake up panicking but being silent in case she was watching. She in quotation marks. I would stumble down the hall, which looked massive, to my mother's room. When I got there, the room would be massive, and the way back to the safety of my room looked miles away. But before I could open my mother's door, that's when she would appear. A little girl, possibly around 6 years old with ponytails, would stand halfway in between me and my room. It wasn't her I was scared of, though. What scared me the most is that I couldn't understand her. I could hear her so clearly and caught words like you, me, I, there, and other short words, but nothing I could piece together as an actual sentence. But for some strange reason, I was worried for her, and I got distraught when I asked her what was up, and I couldn't make out a reply. I would just get frozen with fright and begin crying. My mother would wake up, turn on the light, and rush to the door to let me in. However, I was still scared for two things. Then, 1, the girl was gone, but now she sounded distraught, and I still couldn't understand her. 2, I was scared to sit on my mother's bed whilst I was unmade due to it looking sharp. This makes no sense to me. I would actually make her make my own bed before I sat down. Then when I finally sat down, I would go back to sleep. This happened every time I had a night terror, and if I had to put a number on it, it would have been possibly 3 to 4 nights a week. However, the last few times I ever had a night terror, one thing changed. Just before my mom woke up to the sounds of my crying, I could hear a man's voice along with the girl's, and a very tall man dressed in fine clothes and a top hat would appear. I couldn't see his face or anything below his shoulders, but he towered over me. It's been 12 years since my last night terror, and I can still to this day remember it so vividly. I can tell you this story over and over again, and I have never missed any detail or added anything on.
It's like one ghost is like, you know what? Let's dress up and scare a kid. That's what we're going to do tonight.
Yeah, it's like Slender Man just appears.
All right, this one is from Tiled. A very, very large bird/dinosaur. Not the kind of crane or bird you would look at and go, wow, I can see the dinosaur ancestry in that bird, but like an actual fucking pterodactyl or some shit. I was young and walking down the street of my old neighborhood in North Texas in the mid-90s. It was dusk, and I saw this creature take off with its huge, flapping wings from the top of my neighbor's tree. I still remember it clear as day, yet nobody believes me and says it's probably the result of my active imagination. Now someone anonymously replies saying, pterodactyl, neighbor's backyard, 3 feet tall, leathery winged beast with a long beak. And then someone else replies, this is the second pterodactyl comment here. What's going on?
Oh man, there's a straight pterodactyl.
There's some type of pterodactyl people in Texas.
In North Texas.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Okay, this is from Thunder Truck.
Thunder Truck!
I grew up on an Air Force base in Georgia. My father was security forces, and we lived on the enlisted side of the base. Across the street from our duplex was solid woods with a steep drop-off. I would spend all of the time I could outside riding my bike, playing with friends, etc. One afternoon when I was perhaps 10 or 11, my dad came home from his 12-hour swing. He was curiously silent, and he took a long shower and went to sleep. It was pretty odd. Normally, my dad would stop and play with me or talk to my sister and I. I figured he was tired and went back outside. A few hours later, I went over to my friend Jesse's house to play Mario Kart on SNES, spend the night, and generally goof around. His dad was a systems tech for the radar and such on the base. While we were sitting in the room playing SNES, my friend's dad had to leave quickly. He just went outside, got in his truck, and left. Jesse and I were confused, and we followed him out. It was already dark out, and the familiar orange glow of the streetlights dotted the street. Jesse and I saw maybe 5 or 6 blue K5 Blazer trucks drive rather quickly down the road, including my dad's familiar vehicle. It was all puzzling. The only thing in that direction on the base was like the lakes, scout camp, long-term storage, and pave pause. Jesse and I hopped on our bikes and rode the direction that everyone had driven. We stopped at the top of a large hill and decided to cut through a large field between one of the on-base pools and TLQ. We noticed that the street lights were flickering a little, and Jesse noticed a bright orange light in the distance within the wood line ahead. We rode a little closer, curious. All the streetlights turned off, and this single glowing ball remained, and moved away and closer, it seemed. Jesse and I were genuinely confused. We stopped in our tracks as the light disappeared. Jesse and I sat there in the now inky blackness with nothing but the stars as the sources of light. Jesse and I tried to use our Indiglo watches for light, laughing that it was ineffectual. As we looked around, not understanding why all the lights around us were off, a guttural hum started. I can't explain the way it felt. It was like something, it wasn't something we heard, but something we felt. It was truly unsettling, and Jesse and I looked at each other with the same grimace on our faces. This sound made me feel nauseous. It sent shivers up my spine. As I tried to make sense of all this, Jesse's eyes are locked on the sky, mouth agape. I look up. What I see confuses and terrifies me, but I can't move. A very large, triangular object silently drifts overhead. It is what is emitting the horrible hum. As it moves, the hum almost becomes a pulse. Jesse throws up. I want to scream, but I can't. I can't stop looking at this object. It starts moving back towards the wood line, and as it gets closer, the orange object lights back up, but this time much more dimly, and then it goes out. Then the triangular object silently moves away faster than I had ever seen anything move. The hum disappears, and all the streetlights turn back on. Jesse and I silently walk our bikes back to the road and bike back to his house. He and I both feel ill, go directly to bed. I wake up in the morning and Jesse is still asleep, so I ride home. I had a headache for about 3 days after this. I still cannot explain it. It was just a very large, silent triangle that was maybe 50 feet up in the air and emitted a horrible hum. I've seen all manner of aircraft on that base, many of which I'm certain I was not supposed to see at all. I just can't explain any of it. Also, my dad came home with a headache as well, for the same period of time as Jesse and his father. Whatever that was, I can live a happy life never having to experience it again.
Goddamn aliens.
They exist.
Apparently.
Or so the government says. Look over here.
This one is from Lieutenant Commander Worf. Not sure if this qualifies, as my story does have another witness. My younger sister had one of those dolls whose eyes moved, and it would talk, but only when you picked it up and moved. I was maybe 12 or 13, sitting in the kitchen with my mom, when we hear talking coming from my sister's bedroom. She was not home at the time. We both go back and open the door, and this freaking doll is sitting there, eyes moving and saying, "I love you," and
Nope.
"Let's play." This isn't the odd part. I picked up the doll and there were no batteries in it. Tossed that possessed sucker right into the outside trash. My sister still talks about what happened to her doll.
What the hell did you do with my doll? All right, this is from The Witch Next Door. This is going to get buried anyway, and no one will believe this, but here goes. I'm intrigued already. About 2008 in the summer, I was 9. I had a really vivid dream. Crazy vivid. I was in a big castle, lots of candles lighting the place, and a red carpet. There were a bunch of people there, all different races, genders, ages, nationalities, so many languages being spoken. We were all so confused as to why we were there. I think they were dreaming too. Suddenly there was screaming and blood and panic. Everyone was pushing and shoving and running. There was a tall, pale man with dark hair and clothes and waxy skin slaughtering people. I ran and hid down a hall in a small room. I had found a pair of scissors and was clutching them to my chest. A little boy ran in and I threatened to kill him if he didn't go away because I was so scared. I've never forgotten that dream. I remember being terrified to go to sleep because I was afraid I'd go back to that castle. 4 years and a move to the other side of the country later, I was talking to a new friend about weird dreams. He went first and told me about a weird dream he'd had in the summer of 2008. There was a castle with candles and a red carpet. A lot of people speaking a lot of languages, screaming, blood. A tall, pale man. He started running to get away when he came across a little dark room. He went inside and in the corner was a little girl huddling and clutching a pair of scissors. When he went to help her, she threatened to kill him, so he ran off again. I hadn't told him about my dream yet.
Oh my God.
Wow. It's actually pretty cool. I like that story.
This one is from Blue Knight 8907. I'm going to sound crazy, but I swear I saw an alien watching me and my family talking on my uncle's porch. My uncle lives in a rural area, and there was about 8 of us sitting on the porch at night. Everyone was sitting on the bench facing away from the house while my wife and I were on the bench to the side, so like 90-degree angle compared to my cousins. Anyways, at some point, I see some white, kind of pale blue hands creep out from the edge of the roof, and then a head slowly peek out as well.
What?
The head was bulbous, super round and dark black eyes. It looked directly down at my cousin sitting on the bench against the house, and then towards my wife and I before slowly slipping back up behind the roof.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know why I think this is funny. I was terrified for the next 10 minutes before finally getting up and heading to bed. It doesn't seem like a natural reaction. I go look at the roof, you know?
You're like, we're just going to ignore it. We can't move yet, son. Fucking ignore it.
I'm just going to sleep this one off. This is the part that may discredit what I witnessed, but I noticed this all without looking directly at it because I was so scared. It wasn't out of the corner of my eye. I was leaning back and had a good view of the roof, but I didn't look at it directly. I thought it may have had been a feral cat, though I had strong doubts since I was sure I saw almost an egg-shaped head. But I asked my wife if she saw anything creepy while we were outside, and right away she said she saw an alien. One thing about my wife is that she has never believed in aliens, the chupacabra or anything like that. She said she saw the same thing as well, but actually got a good look at it. We told everyone in the morning, but no one believed us. We've seen so much weird shit in the skies at my uncle's ranch that I'm really surprised they didn't believe us. I know I sound crazy, but my wife and I are sure of what we saw.
Yeah, you should just move. All right. This is from Belly Full of Swans. Back in the day, I was hanging out with a buddy and his family, and we all rented VHS tapes from the store. Uh-oh, this could get hairy.
Uh-oh.
They got my buddy's younger brother a DuckTales movie. I think it involves a magic lamp or something. It was one of the first feature-length DuckTales films. Either way, my buddy and I are up in his room while the little brother is watching the show. Huey, Dewey, and Louie are in some underground cave, and one of them says something like, "It's dark in here." Another one responds, "No shit." DuckTales? No shit. My friend and I thought we had to be hearing things. The little brother didn't even notice. We played it back a couple of times to make sure we heard it right. Then we called down to his mom and grandma to come up and check it out. They heard the same thing. Since this isn't some obscure movie, and since I've never heard this reference before, I have no idea what actually happened, what was actually said, or what the hell was going on that day with the tape.
This one is from Handpicked D-Dub. Riding on a mountain bike trail and saw a pterodactyl.
Oh my God.
It was on a tree branch and flew away when I came around the corner and startled it. Told some people now, they think I'm nuts. Most think I saw a large bat. Sorry, no modern bat is that large and or has a long beak and unique shaped head like what I saw. And then someone replies, their name is Bro, I'm Gay. Came here to comment this. I straight up saw a pterodactyl too when I was younger. No one believes me and everyone says it was a hawk or eagle or something. It was 100% without a doubt a ptero-fucking-dactyl. Huge long beak and webbed featherless wings. I know a pterodactyl when I see one. That's bizarre.
Jesus Christ.
There's
a lot of pterodactyl shit on this.
I'm a pterodactyl expert. All
right. This is from Coffin Goffin, and it's actually a reply to the DuckTales one. When I was younger, my little brother was watching Clifford. At one point, my mom swears she hears, smells like sex, from a Minorp character. She lost her ever-loving mind, as do all overly religious mothers, and rewound it repeatedly. Success. He was saying success. But my mother only heard sex because she was so fucking obsessed with her own insecurities. And that's the story of why my mother thinks Clifford is a satanic cartoon. Go watch it again, man.
Oh my God. All right, this one was from Rado86. Sometimes I see movement from the corner of my eye, but everybody always tells me there is nothing that could move. Don't worry. Like, you imagine saying that to somebody? Hey, Britton, I always see stuff in the corner of my eye, and you say, there's nothing that can move. Don't worry.
You're fine. It's nothing that can move, man. Get over yourself.
But I am convinced that the shadows start to move around me.
Good God.
Maybe I'm really paranoid, but one time, a few years ago, while I was alone waiting for a train, I looked up. It looked like my shadow opened its eyes. I freaked out so heavily that I instantly took 3 to 4 steps back. Since then, I have never seen it again, but I still sometimes feel the sensation of something moving in the corner of my eyes, especially when I'm alone.
This is from Deleted. The hair on the back of my neck stands as I'm typing this. 2 friends and I were driving back from a party on a small countryside road where we live. We often use it as a shortcut. It's a little known road, sinuous, in poor shape, and with forest and stone walls on the sides. There's hardly ever anyone driving on this road, and no houses or farms, kilometers around. It was around 4 a.m. I was on the back seat, plastered, admittedly, and staring out the window. Suddenly I saw a huge person standing at the edge of the forest, about 15 meters away, size of a large man with a cap or hat of some kind. At first immobile, then his posture turned toward us as we drove by. I sobered the fuck up instantly, rose up on my seat and yelled, "What the fuck?" My friends asked, What? I said, "There's a guy out there." At first they were incredulous, but from my reaction they started to freak out too. Friend on the passenger seat asked whether we should back up to check. Driver said, "Oh yeah, sure," and accelerated away. Yeah, let's do that. Should we stop and let him in too? Hopefully he doesn't murder us on our way home. There was absolutely no reason for someone to be there at this time. It wasn't hunting season. No one lives anywhere near. We talked about it afterward, and both my friends remain skeptical to this day. They both chickened out. But I'm 100% sure there was someone.
It started running at us.
Oh, Jesus
Let
Christ.
me verify first.
On all fours.
Yeah, oh my God. All right, this one is Throw Your Work Away. I saw a plane once on a bright, clear day, which is normal for where I live, except this plane was a lot lower than most planes, made no noises whatsoever, and it was all black. No one else seemed to care it was there or even see it, but the plane seemed low enough that if it had any writing on it, I would be able to read it. I could be wrong, and it seemed too big as a plane to land in any of the airports that were around. I was east of Toronto, and it was flying east. There was no signs of it turning around back to a bigger airport, and it was too low to land in Kingston. Could have gone to Bellevue Airport, but it seemed a ways away for how low it was.
Okay, this is from Deleted. Okay, this is 100% true, and definitely the scariest thing to ever happen in my life so far. So he's claiming 100% true. Do you believe it already?
Oh, it has to be.
Back in the summer, when I was in between 6th and 7th grades, I was biking back home from a girl's house. She lived roughly 8 blocks away, so biking home late was a norm. It was around 11 at night. Biking home, enjoying the warm, misty night, I turned down a block arbitrarily in the direction of home. My nose was assaulted by the stench of death and old, not unlike the smell of a really unclean hospice center. This particular block has a nice 1-story brick house with 3 low trees in the front yard. In the middle tree was an old man in a jacket, jeans, and a blue cap hanging in the crook of the tree. I stopped my bike and stared. The man croaked and moaned. Thus I promptly sped off home, freaked out, and hid in my bed. A week later, I happened to cross in front of that same house during the day. There was a nice young girl and the same old man putting groceries into the house. I slammed on my brakes and begged to ask to the young lady. I asked her if her fellow was okay, explained what I saw, and confirmed that the smell was the exact same. This gal was the old man's daughter, taken care of and living with him. By her account, he never had been out at night, never owned or owns a blue hat, and to please leave.
What the fuck?
Not another week later, he fell off a ladder into the tree and hanged, wearing a brand new blue hat.
So they buy him a blue hat. Like, you know what? We're going to get you that blue hat.
Yeah, right? Super what the fuck, but I can't explain any of it. Still think back on it to this day and wonder if I could have done something different. This man died painfully at 87, and I could and would have stopped if I wasn't so damn scared. It's that fucking hat. It was haunted.
Goddamn evil hat. All right, this one is from Neo GP. I was driving to Pennsylvania to Ohio, and it's about 2 a.m. when the taillights in front of me turn into headlights, taillights, and headlights. I realize the car is spinning. As it gets closer, it careens in two and over the guardrail. I pull over where the car went, and there's nothing but darkness. This was the late 90s, so nobody had cell phones. Another car came up and asked if I was all right. I told them the story. They looked, saw nothing, even used flashlight, saw nothing. Went to the first rest area, called the police, filed a report. They never saw or found anything.
Well, goddamn.
Do.
All right, this is from Vatromir. Here's something mildly interesting. Oh, we're getting a mildly interesting. I was laying down in my bed, and next to the bed is our daughter's crib. She's usually fussy, 6 months old, but today she was asleep soundly. I was laying down collecting my thoughts when I hear a whisper, "Daddy, help." I was immediately wide awake and adrenaline pumping. I go over to our daughter and see she kicked off her blanket, so I tucked her in again. She can't talk yet, obviously, and I was freaked out.
Oh my God.
Later, when she learned a few words already, we were sitting on the porch and she points to our yard and says, "Doggy." I look, there's nothing there. She was pointing to where apparently my wife's mother buried a dog. I didn't know this at the time till I told my wife. Around this time, she would also point in our closet and say, "There's a little girl there."
Oh my God.
Needless to say, this kid freaked me out. Being so innocent and saying off-key things like that made me want to nope out of the house. And I don't even believe in ghosts.
Jesus.
Yeah, kids, man. They see shit.
This one is Joey Moe 00. I remember me, as a child in the late 70s, watching a TV show, which I think was on Sunday morning, of a kid around 10 years old riding around on his bike, and on the front of his bike was a basket, and in the basket was a severed head that was alive,
Jesus Christ.
and the kid would talk to it, and I assume would go on adventures with it and get into trouble, etc. Basically, TV show type kid stuff. Just regular stuff. Can't really remember exactly what the fuck happened on the show. It was based in the country of Brazil or something similar. I think it was on right before or after Paddington Bear. It might have been on PBS Channel 2. I've never been able to find any info on the show or talk to anyone who also remembers it. Everyone I tell or ask about it has no clue and thinks I'm insane when I describe it to them. Someone wrote, this was a show called Chico the Rainmaker, so I'm going to click that.
Chico the Rainmaker, huh?
The boy with two heads? What the fuck?
Interesting.
We'll have to see a picture of the severed head. I don't know.
All right, this is from Aphrodite. I work at a bar, and me and two other guys were closing down on Halloween night a couple years ago. We were out back breaking down a portable bar to put in the shed. Now, this area that we were in has the shed, and it's in a parking lot out back of the building. There's a road coming down our left side, and across from us is a large generator about 3 feet wide, about 6 or 7 feet tall. Next to that is a tree, and behind that is a handrail. Behind the handrail, there's another street that is about 2 foot drop from the parking lot, and behind that is a large apartment building. Basically, you can see everything to the left and to the right of the big generator. So we're breaking down and laughing about something when we see what we assume is a homeless lady. We don't see her face because she's holding up a big comforter sheet around her back and sides of her head. She's wearing dirty pink Ugg boots and a dirty knee-high skirt. From the way her hands and legs looked, she looked older, like maybe in her 50s or 60s. But again, we didn't see her face at all. So we're laughing about something and we see this old lady slowly shuffling down the street in front of us. And we all stop talking to look at her. She doesn't look at us and no one says a word to her. She's coming from the front of the building and she turns and goes behind the generator. Again, she's moving very slowly. Still, no one says a word. A security guard comes walking briskly with his flashlight about 10 seconds later because he saw her coming towards the back and figured she was going to camp out or something in the parking lot. He looks at us and we still don't say anything, just point to the generator. He goes behind the generator, and there's nothing there. He looks up the tree, looks to the side, down the street, and there's nothing.
All right, I really like this one. This one is from...
done.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And that's my story. We were shocked. I wouldn't go behind the generator because I was terrified. We hadn't taken our eyes off the generator, and there was no way she could have run that fast because where she had gone was an alleyway, and the security guard came up to her too fast. One of the guys I was with went behind the generator to look for her too, and we looked up and down the alleyway. She was gone. To this day, no one believes us or understands how crazy it is that this lady literally disappeared. She was shuffling like she could not walk well, so I can't imagine her sprinting down an alleyway or up a tree. I was in my early 20s, and I definitely couldn't have sprinted down that alleyway that fast, as I would have needed to in order to not be seen by that security guard. But also, we were all looking at the generators, and we didn't see her walk either way out from it. For a while, I would look out for a homeless lady around the area wearing pink Ugg boots, just so that night makes sense in my head, but I've never seen anyone like it in the area again. To this day, one of the weirdest things that has happened to me that no one believes. Doo-doo-doo. Now I'm done. Go ahead.
All right, this one is really scary, so buckle up. It's from Jay Doso. One time, I bought a slice of pizza, and the person selling it to me said, "That's a good-looking slice of pizza."
What?
When I walked away 10 seconds later, a man walks by me and comments about my pizza looking nice.
The fuck?
And a little bit later after that, another woman says, "Wow, that's a nice slice of pizza."
What the?
It was a good slice of pizza, but not that good.
It's like the slice of pizza that ever existed. Like, man, that's a nice pizza. What the hell? I can't imagine like commenting, "Wow, that's a nice slice of pizza.
Best slice of pizza I've ever seen."
Well, that's going to wrap it up for tonight, ending on a note of pizza. As always, we do have our Buzzsprout subscription service that we'll post a link to down below and on our YouTube channel. So if you want to help support the show, please do. We'll definitely put all of that to good use. Thank you to our subscribers now: Supernatural, Tessa, Modelo Time, Mothman, Devin, Conklin Family, and Lou. Definitely appreciate all the support that you guys have given to us. Again, we are looking to do video sometime in the near future. Once we hit, 500 subscribers?
Yep, we're at 135 right? No, sorry, we're at 335 on YouTube.
I was like, how'd we lose so many?
Specifically YouTube subscribers.
Yeah, so if we get 500 YouTube subscribers, Cleet and I are going to go to the Clown Motel in Nevada, filming it with our experience doing the ghost box and Ouija board and all the spooky shit.
It'll be a real fun episode, I think. I think we'll enjoy ourselves quite a bit. But anyways, if you're listening to us on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe, as it really helps us get us out there. And as always, thank you for entering the abyss.
Until next time.